The most dangerous.
All the past and the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you are behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last. And to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Concrete floors, glass spots, the kind of excitement and unpredictability that fans had come to expect from pay-per-view wrestling back then. But things took a turn for the worse and quickly got out of hand in a way that nobody could have predicted. That one stunt is still really famous, even though it was planned. A glass panel backstage. The idea was simple. Angle would overhead suplex Shane through the glass. The glass would shatter dramatically. The audience would explode. The spot would become legendary. Easy. At least, that was the plan. But wrestling becomes terrifying when plans fail. And this one failed immediately. The cameras followed both men backstage as the fight escalated. Trash cans crashed. Punches landed. Bodies slammed into walls. Then suddenly, Kurt grabbed Shane. The crowd could sense something big coming. Angle lifted him high into the air and launched him backward directly toward the glass. But instead of shattering, the window held. Shane's body whipped backward awkwardly. His head snapped violently downward, and he crashed hard onto the concrete floor. The sound alone was sickening. Not the sound of fake wrestling violence. The sound of a human skull hitting the hard ground. For a split second, everything changed. You can actually see the emotion change on Kurt Angle's face. The confidence disappeared. The aggression disappeared. Panic replaced it, because he instantly realized something had gone wrong. Very wrong. The glass was supposed to break. It didn't, and Shane landed almost directly on his head. Fans watching live didn't fully understand how dangerous the moment truly was at first, but the silence told the story. There's a different kind of silence in wrestling when a crowd thinks somebody might actually be hurt, not dramatic silence. Fearful silence. The kind where thousands of people suddenly stop reacting because they don't know what they just witnessed. And somehow, they kept going. That's the unbelievable part. Most people would have stopped the match immediately. Most performers would have called an audible. Not these two. Kurt grabbed Shane again, ready to repeat the process in the same spot again. Think about how insane that sounds. After the first horrifying crash, they tried it again. Angle lifted Shane once more. Again, he threw him toward the glass. And again, the glass refused to break. The impact looked even uglier the second time. Shane crumpled awkwardly. His body folded unnaturally onto the concrete. At this point, fans weren't cheering anymore. They were horrified. Even the commentators sounded shaken, because this didn't look controlled anymore. It seemed like something was going wrong right before our eyes. And the terrifying reality, it was. The glass they used for the stunt was actually thicker than they thought it would be. It didn't break easily. Instead, it acted like a strong barrier when hit. So basically, Shane McMahon was being thrown headfirst into a solid glass surface repeatedly. No protection, no safety, just raw force meeting an immovable object. Our bodies just aren't made to handle crashes like that without getting hurt pretty badly. And yet somehow, they attempted it a third time. By now, Shane was visibly struggling, dazed, slower, barely steady, but he still got up. That one fact alone reveals a lot about what wrestling was like back then. Stopping wasn't an option, no matter how dangerous things became. Kurt grabbed Shane one more time. The crowd held its breath. And finally, the glass exploded. Shane McMahon came crashing through the glass and landed hard on the concrete, hitting his head first. Fragments shattered everywhere. The audience erupted instantly. But underneath the cheers was genuine fear, because Shane looked broken. His body collapsed awkwardly after impact. For a moment, he barely moved. And Kurt Angle? He looked exhausted and concerned, because even though the stunt finally worked, it had already gone too far. Much too far. People still can't believe what happened all those years ago. They keep replaying it in their minds. Not because it was entertaining, because it feels wrong to watch. It's still really tough to watch, even when compared to what we're used to seeing today. And somehow, that wasn't even the end of the danger, because people forget Kurt Angle himself was barely holding together physically. Every suplex he delivered carried risk. Every landing threatened his damaged neck. And all through the match, Angle took a lot of damage. At one point, both men crashed through hard surfaces with almost no control. Their bodies were exhausted. Their timing deteriorated. Their movements became desperate. And desperation in wrestling is dangerous, especially when concrete floors are involved. Especially when adrenaline overrides pain. Especially when two performers refuse to stop no matter what happens. That's what made this match terrifying. Not just the violence, the refusal to quit. Neither man backed down. Neither man slowed down. They just kept escalating. At times, the match felt less like choreography and more like survival. And the scary truth is, it probably was. The Attitude Era built its reputation on danger. Fans loved unpredictability, loved chaos, loved seeing wrestlers push limits nobody else would touch. But there are times when this way of thinking shows its darker side. The line between something being entertaining and something being tragic can sometimes be very hard to see. It's like they are almost the same thing. 1 inch lower on the concrete, one slightly worse neck angle, one wrong landing. This match could have had serious consequences, potentially ending careers or even being fatal. That's not exaggeration. That's reality. Professional wrestling is carefully designed to create the illusion of danger while protecting performers as much as possible. When something goes wrong in the middle of a stunt, all the safety measures are gone in an instant. And during Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon, everything went wrong. The broken glass spot totally shifted the mood of the game. What should have been an unforgettable and intense moment turned into a complete disaster that played out live for everyone to see. And somehow, Both men were able to keep performing at a really high level even after that. That almost sounds impossible. Shane continued taking punishment despite likely being concussed. Angle continued wrestling through immense pain despite his already damaged neck. The physical toughness required to finish that match is almost difficult to comprehend. But toughness and safety are not the same thing. And wrestling history is filled with examples of performers pushing beyond human limits because the culture rewarded sacrifice. That culture created unforgettable moments, but it also destroyed bodies, and sometimes lives. This game is still talked about today because it was so controversial. Some fans call it legendary, others call it reckless. Honestly, it was both. It's clear that something had a big impact on people's emotions. The crowd was completely invested. Every movement felt unpredictable. Every slam carried tension. But the realism came from actual danger, not an illusion. This match is different from your average hardcore wrestling because of its unique elements. The fear was real. You can hear it in the audience. See it on Kurt's face. Feel it in the awkward pacing after the failed spots. This wasn't a controlled masterpiece. It was chaos barely held together. Ironically, that chaos made the match unforgettable. Fans still talk about it over 2 decades later. Not because of championships. Not because of storyline importance. Because it looked like something viewers were never supposed to see. Professional wrestlers losing control of a dangerous situation live on camera. And yet, both men somehow survived it. That alone feels miraculous. Especially Shane McMahon. People joke about Shane taking insane risks now, but matches like this explain why. He built his reputation by throwing himself into danger in ways almost nobody else would. Shane was different from a lot of other wrestlers. He didn't have to wrestle for the money. He chose to. That's what made audiences respect him. He could have stayed behind the scenes. Instead, he repeatedly risked serious injury for entertainment. That was a really scary night for him. He almost lost everything that mattered. Some experienced wrestlers have even said that the part with the glass was really tough to see, because once you understand what actually happened, you realize how lucky everyone was. A head hitting concrete from that angle can change a life permanently. Neck trauma at that force can end careers instantly. And Kurt Angle knew it. His reaction to the failed attempts is really important. For a split second, the Olympic champion seemed really scared. Not of losing the match, of hurting somebody, because wrestling performers trust each other completely. Their safety depends on it. When something goes wrong during a stunt, the trust between everyone involved is put to the test right away. Angle carried the burden of delivering those suplexes. Shane carried the burden of taking them. Both men put enormous faith in each other, and somehow, through all the chaos, they made it through. Barely, but the physical damage lingered. Shane was battered and bruised badly afterward. Angle's body continued deteriorating over the following years. Multiple neck surgeries followed. Constant pain continued. Yet somehow, Kurt still went on to become one of the greatest professional wrestlers ever. What makes his performance even more amazing is that it's so hard to believe. He was already competing at a really high level, even though he was hurt, and that's something that most athletes, even when they're healthy, can't do. And Shane? He made a name for himself in wrestling as a guy who wasn't afraid of anything, not necessarily the most technically gifted, not the strongest, not the fastest, but fearless, completely fearless. The matches like this reveal the price performers paid behind the scenes. The audience saw excitement. The wrestlers absorbed trauma, real trauma. That's why modern wrestling has changed so much. Today, companies are far more cautious about dangerous stunts. Concussion awareness is higher, medical protocols are stricter, and honestly, matches like Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon are part of the reason why. Because people realized how close wrestling had come to disaster too many times. Still, despite everything, fans can't stop watching this match. Maybe it's because it captures a rawness missing from modern wrestling, something rarely seen anymore. Authentic unpredictability. You truly don't know what's going to happen next. Not because of scripted drama, because the situation itself became unstable. People are really drawn to moments like that for some reason. Moments where control disappears. Moments where danger becomes visible. Moments where reality crashes through entertainment. That's exactly what went down at King of the Ring. Two guys walked in, thinking they were about to get into a really intense and physical fight. They ended up creating one of the most shocking and memorable moments in WWE history, a moment that's really hard to forget. Not because everything went perfectly, because everything went wrong. And somehow, they survived it anyway. Even now, young wrestling fans are still finding old videos online and having the same strong reactions to them. Shock, disbelief, confusion. How did they continue after that? How was Shane not seriously crippled? Why didn't they stop the match? Those questions still don't have easy answers, because wrestling culture in that era was different. Pain was normalized, risk was expected, stopping was seen as weakness, and performers often sacrificed their bodies to create moments fans would never forget. This was one of those moments. But unlike many classic wrestling matches, the legacy here isn't just admiration, it's uneasiness. Because underneath the spectacle is a haunting truth: this could have ended horribly, and everybody watching knows it. Kurt Angle vs. Shane McMahon is a match that still holds its own, even after all these years, and it's really different from most other hardcore matches in wrestling history. Not because it was scripted violence, because for several terrifying minutes, the violence stopped feeling scripted at all. It felt real, painfully real. And maybe that's why people still talk about it more than 20 years later. Not as entertainment, as survival.